Hi, good morning. So I'm from SP Digital. That's a subsidiary for SP Group. So if you are in Singapore, you probably know what SP Group is. How many of you do not know who SP Group is? Okay. So obviously not from Singapore, because SP is the main utility in Singapore. So if you own a property or you own a location in Singapore, the energy, the electricity supplied to your home or your location, it's through SP. We are the main grid operator, and we are also the main metering operator as well. So SP Digital is a subsidiary. We run the digital business part for SP Group, and I'm here today to share with you how we are powering sustainability with Energytech. So if you have been anywhere around in Singapore for the past month, you've probably heard about sustainability. I think you basically can't not hear about sustainability, right? Because it's right in your face everywhere. You have newspapers explaining to you what sustainability and climate change is. You have ministers telling you what sustainability and climate change is, right? Of course, all of these things are all driven through technology. Like the growth of it is through technology. Singapore is a small location. How do we actually best use whatever resources we have? I think we can't escape from technology. And suddenly out of the woodwork, that's lots of business happening as well around sustainability and climate change, right? Sabana, this is just from 2 days ago. Sabana Jurong inked 10 MOUs, right? And just from yesterday, Olam secured like a $500 million sustainably linked loan. So out of the woodwork, suddenly you hear like everyone's talking about sustainability, and lo and behold, there's just so much about money flowing in and out about sustainability. So where do all of these things come from? I mean, it can't be just because the Prime Minister talked about it last month, right? And suddenly everybody is falling in line to all these things, right? Sustainability, I believe, has been on top of mind for a lot of businesses and a lot of people for a long time. It just has not been brought up to the overall consciousness of a lot of us. And it is the same with SP Digital. So we started off as a small team doing digital transformation for SP Group. And one of the first things that we realized, one of the first things that I realized coming in to do the digital transformation strategy for SP is sustainability. It's really about the impact of what we do and the technology that we bring. How does it impact the environment around us? And today I want to share with you the products and the things that we have done to achieve that. What I'm going to talk about today is actually just a slice of what we have done. If you're interested in knowing a bit more about what we've done, you can approach me after this talk. So the approach that we took in SP Digital on how we tackle the matter of building technology to support and to power sustainability is threefold, right? So I think the most important and the most fundamental part of it is really just to inform, right? You want to give information to our customers, our consumers. We want to trigger change of behavior, and we want to trigger change of behavior in both consumers as well as businesses by giving them information. Information is really very powerful. If you don't know how you actually using your energy, you would not realize how much of it has actually been wasted and how much of it actually changes the things that are around you. By giving this information, we hope to be able to trigger the change in behavior. But of course, I think just by giving you information is probably not good enough. We also want to enable you. So we want to enable you to actually take sustainable actions, to actually do the things to make the world a lot more sustainable. And finally, sustainability is, if it is not tied in with economics, if it is not economical, I think it will probably not be very exciting for businesses and for consumers. Especially in Singapore, we are a bunch of very pragmatic people. If it is not economical, I think very few people would actually take it up. So these are the three pillars of I would say, purpose and goals that we have that drives our products. And underlying all of it is what we call the Energytech Platform. These are a set of technologies that we've built over the years. I'll say years, but really about 2 years plus. A series and a group of technologies that we've built that will power all our products, our current products and our future products as well. So let me start by talking about the product that's probably the most visible amongst all of them. It's codenamed Infinity. It's a consumer engagement platform. The very visible part of this is what you will see in the SP Utility app. So today, if you own a property in Singapore, you can download this app and you can use it to pay for your utility bills, to monitor your utility usage. But if you own a smart meter, AMI meter, right, you can do a lot more. So some of the main features that we have really is all about utilities. It's about tracking your utility usage. Then this is half an hourly if you have a smart meter for electricity, and then water and gas as well. You're able to pay bills. We enable all cards now, Visa, MasterCard, as well as Amex last month. We allow you to communicate with our agents and then do a lot of the other utility-related things. But beyond utilities, even though it's called SP Utilities app, we actually power a lot more things. For example, when the open electricity market came about, piloting last year and continuing this year, we supported this initiative by providing a platform where people can go in and do a search of the various packages that are available out in the market to find the most suitable package for their own usage. EV charging. So I think it was 2 days ago, there was an announcement. We started off earlier part of this year, and today we have about 200 charging points around the island. This will turn into about 1,000 by end of next year. With the app, you are able to locate charging stations. You are able to perform actions on charging. You can start and stop charging and so on, and you are also able to pay for the charging. One of the newer initiatives that's coming up is what we call Green Up. Is obviously, as from the name you can tell, is a sustainability-driven initiative. It's really about educating the public about sustainability and responsible energy use, right, through a system of gamification and rewards. We have worked with a number of partners to push this through. A key component of this is what we call electricity pledging. So we use electricity, right? And but sometimes we don't know how much we use, and we don't know what is optimal for us. So one of the things we wanted to sort of engage with our consumers is to engage them in such a way that they will pledge to say, look, this is how much I will use, and they will try to keep to that. A little bit like your tracker, right? To say, okay, I'm going to do 10,000 steps today, right? Which I'm probably not going to do 10,000 steps, but nonetheless, we hope electricity pledging will be able to drive the change in behavior for consumers to have a little bit more understanding about their usage patterns and be able to change them accordingly for a more sustainable world. We also have a series of challenges working with partners that allow them over time to accumulate what we call leaves, points that eventually come up to a set of rewards that we can give back to the consumers. We are working with partners like Food Bank here, for example, where when you donate to the food bank, then we would actually give you some form of rewards as well. We also work with different technology partners. One of the technology partners we work with is Ambi. There is a company that does intelligent cooling. This is up and coming. For those of you who are looking out, and probably some of you in the audience who are looking towards buying a unit in Tengah, the new HDB Smart Town, SP Group is doing centralized cooling in that location. And one of the things that we are doing here is allowing the consumers to be able to control and also intelligently drive the changes in the comfort level for the consumers, right, through the cooling, centralized cooling. This will, and it is proven today. In fact, the room that we sit here, the location that we have here, is the cooling is run by a Singapore District Cooling, a SP Group subsidiary as well. We have been powering cooling for this area for the past decade, right? And we hope to bring this technology to residents as well. Lastly, for now at least, we want to allow green for everybody by allowing consumers to buy racks to cover the home and EV consumption, and also to encourage the use of renewable energy. A little bit about this in a while. So this is IoT world. So we do have IoT products, and our core IoT product is called Spark. It's an IoT platform. We have hardware. We have IoT gateway hardware. It's basically a box that you see here, right? This is exactly the box that we have. We have a operating system. Is a hardened Linux kernel. We run it on the cloud, and we have a set of applications on the repository that you can push down to this device. We use this to control mainly, as of today, things like the solar PVs, energy storage systems, meters, and all sorts of energy-related devices. Examples, some pictures of our deployments. This is in various locations, very industrial looking. You can't see any of it here, so what I've done is I took some pictures inside as well. So this is our deployments. You can't see this because it's too dark. I also marked it out in yellow, right? So we can see where our sparks are. This is some example of our screenshots. And it's a reasonably matured platform. We have deployed this for about 2 years now, since 2017. And we have worked with a number of providers for batteries, inverters, and PV modules. So that's the underlying platform. And the next few products that I'm going to talk about are actually based on this. So the first one is called Beyond, is our project name. It's a product that's aimed towards making buildings more green, smarter, right? So more efficient commercial buildings. And through a series of steps, from infrastructure upgrade to providing more capabilities for operational efficiency, predictive analytics, all the buzzwords, necessary buzzwords. But the driver is really towards sustainability. And of course, we're very keen on occupant experience as well. It is not just about making the buildings very sustainable. Like Singapore is a very warm place, so we do need to keep our occupants happy and comfortable. So occupant experience is definitely very key. We want to drive information to the occupants, and we allow the occupants a sense of even be able to impact the changes, right? By giving information, feedback on the location they are in, to say, look, I'm at this place, it's too warm, I want it to be colder, so they'll be able to provide feedback, and then there's a loop that will actually change the environment around them. Or at least provide feedback, depending on the building. The infrastructure, we provide smart electricity and water meters. We have a wireless mesh network. We integrate with building management systems. And using our Spark, we also provide IoT platform and sensors connecting to various devices and equipment within the facilities. Screenshots. We have a dashboard for building owners. That's one of the primary the users, what this system is meant for, who this system is meant for, I'm sorry. For tenants as well, we want to allow the tenants, the people who rent the locations within the building, to monitor their own consumption. So today, if you look at how this operates, right? If you run a shop, say Starbucks, right? So you use electricity, you use water, you turn it on all the time, and you operate. But how much electricity do you use? You hardly know until the end of the month, where you get a bill, right? Because somebody within the facilities management team will go in, take a reading, and then you will churn out a bill for you. But in reality, is you have no idea how much and what you use throughout the month. Let's say this month you are charged $10,000 or $1,000, and next month your bill goes out to $5,000. So it's like, what happened? And the building management will never be able to tell you because they only read it once a month, right? providing these capabilities, we want to enable the tenants to be able to monitor their own usage and also monitor the commercial activity, because as the readings become more frequent, this is no longer just for billing purposes. It becomes sensor data for your utility, right? And other things that we want to provide for the tenants as well. And also for building visitors, we want to provide visibility for the building visitors. It's not just the people who are in the buildings, but also people who are visiting the buildings. Provide them a lot of other capabilities, visibility on how well the building is doing, right? And this is not just, of course, for the building visitors, right? So if you are the guy who's implementing sustainability for the building, you want people to appreciate what you have done as well, right? So you want to show off a little bit. So this, in a sense, provides a means for the visitors to see how well you have done. We have some customers already in place. Changi Airport Terminal 3, HDB Connection 1, and the Sandcrawler building. The next product I'm going to talk about actually uses the Spark platform, the IoT platform I talked about earlier a lot. It is used for managing DERs. DERs is distributed energy resources, like solar PVs, for example, energy storage systems. It's a longish word for basically a giant battery. Yeah. We use it for energy monitoring, and one of the features that we have is actually has a very customizable interface, as you'll see later. Here, some screenshots showing how we manage multiple DERs in different sites. Right. So this is a little bit different from what I showed you earlier. That's earlier on was for a single building. This is for a site, and this site is not. But this site is really focusing on the DERs, basically the energy equipment, right? So what are the energy equipment? So basically your solar PV, energy storage, your meters, and so on and so forth. A dashboard. This is a single view of everything related to that particular facility, the particular site. Managing and monitoring a PV. And this includes generating all the necessary reports and doing all the necessary reporting for regulatory purposes, right? For you, those of you who actually have PV, you know what I mean. Yeah. Manage and monitoring ESS. Monitoring grid input, and this is important. This is able to gauge like how you're actually using energy within your site. So all those I talked about earlier on is macro, right? It talks about the entire site. But if you want to know what is happening within the internal sites, of course you can naturally deploy meters, but often that doesn't happen. Right? But you still want to monitor those particular places. We have other energy monitoring sensors that we can fix on certain locations and be able to bring back all the data as well. So this is an example we have done with one of our customers. Water monitoring as well. Right. Greenwall is very similar, the one that I talked about just now for building visitors. Energy challenge, for example, right? So let's say you own multiple buildings. It's all your buildings, right? You're not renting it out to anybody, but you don't know how well they're performing in terms of energy consumption. And you want to save money, right? So you run an energy challenge, and then you try to encourage the tenants within, or rather the occupants within the building, to try to save and reduce energy consumption. So this is actually a challenge that we did internally within SV Group for a bunch of our district offices. It was a pretty intensive competition, as you might see here, and we have driven down our consumption quite significantly. For some sites, it's up to 50%. Like it's a bit scary sometimes, right? So we even asked them, like, do you actually work in the dark now because you want to win the competition? So it does get a bit competitive. We have customers. Kanto Nasi is here they operate warehouses, but they are actually a Belgian port operator. They have warehouses all over the world. We help them to monitor the PV. Bukit Panjang CC was our first pilot a few years back. We also work with ERIAN, the Energy Research Institute at NTU. Okay, so I'm very glad to see the AI Summit Singapore here, because that's the other thing that we do as well. A big part of the team that I have are data scientists. We actually do a lot of AI stuff. And one of the key products that we have come out with in the recent times, then that's a product that powers a number of the other things that we do, is what we call the energy brain. So, for example, the previous things that you've seen just now, those are the arms and legs, right? So arms and legs move, but they only move when somebody tells them to do. But if the human is taken out of the equation, basically it's nothing happened, right? So you always need somebody to monitor it. That's why we have dashboards. That's why we have all those things. But if you want to automate it, then we also have what we call energy brain. It has 4 main capabilities. The first capability is on profiling. It profiles our customers and users. It does forecasting. Of course, the main thing about AI really is our predictions and forecasting. It optimizes the energy usage, and it does monitoring as well for our equipment, like energy equipment. Let me give you some sample of how this has been used. With our customer, Semco Marine, these are some of the use cases. We help to analyze and do an audit on their contracted capacity. So these terms are a little bit technical and more like within our industry. So when you purchase electricity, you need to, especially for a big user like Semco Marine, then you buy up to a certain level of contracted capacity. If you exceed it, then basically you have to pay a lot more, because then you're depriving the other people who are usually using electricity. So if you're just using electricity, sometimes you don't know, right? The ship comes in, you need to turn on the water pumps, to clean the ship, and then you do that. So you often exceed the contract capacity. So we need to actually do an audit, profile, and help them to understand a little bit about their usage. But beyond that, we also want to help them to reduce the energy consumption, is what we call the peak shaving, right? We use this term peak shaving, which really is to forecast the usage. And before they actually reaches the peak, we use energy storage systems to discharge and take over the electricity that's been used, right? So instead of taking from the grid, then you take from the battery. We also do what is called a load shifting as well. Here we have a load shifting advisor where we'll profile the customers and the usage, and we'll tell them, say, look, this is how you'll be using it, but we recommend you use it the other way, because that will save you how much? This is how much energy, how much electricity. Right, so that's one use case in Semco Marine. The use case is for monitoring solar PV. So we look at these 2 charts here, right? The top chart is really the energy output, and the bottom chart is a anomaly chart, right? So the spike here means there are anomalies. You can see from this chart at the bottom, there are 2 anomalies. And the first anomaly is very obvious. Okay, basically we just turned off the inverter. This was a trial that we did. And it dipped, right? Very obvious. And any human sitting there will be able to see, okay, there's a problem, right? It dipped, no more electricity, there's a problem. But what about the second one? What about the second spike for the chart at the bottom? What happened over there? If you look at the chart alone, you can't tell any difference, right? There's nothing really. But actually, we laid newspapers on the solar PV, right? This is to simulate things like maybe there's a tree branch falling on top of it, or maybe some of it is spoiled or things like that. From the naked eye, you can't really tell, and this will proliferate until suddenly you discover the output is much lower than what you expect it to be, and you have no idea why. Right? Using Energy Brain, we are able to help Semco Marine to detect these anomalies and be able to react to them a lot faster. So these are some of the use cases that we have. The other one is on microgrid optimization. So again, a news that just came out. So really coincidentally, a news that just came out yesterday talking about the groundbreaking in SIT. SP Group is the partner for SIT, and SP Digital is I would say we are the solution provider for the optimization of the microgrids. And we have done some tests on a lab that we have set up to simulate the environment that will be at SIT. And so far, under lab conditions, we have achieved like 5 to 10%. In reality, because that lab has no load, right? So it's very difficult to simulate an actual situation. But we believe that in a real case, we will be able to help to optimize a lot better. Our customers, Semco Marine, talked about it, the Semco just now. Tengah is a smart new town that's up and coming. We are also using the Energy Brain there, and SIT, as I mentioned earlier as well. So the last product, I know I'm terribly out of time. The last product I want to talk about is on RECs, Renewable Energy Certificates. Remember the first product I talk about how consumers can buy RECs and be green for everybody. This is how they would do it. So if you look at how traditionally you generate electricity and you have electricity, but if you generate renewable energy, use renewable energy generation, you also generate electricity, but you can't really tell, right? Because an electron is an electron. You can't tell like what color is the electron, right? There's no color to the electron. So how do we encourage renewable energy generation? We do that by placing what is called a REC, and this encourages renewable energy generators by giving them a secondary revenue source, right? So they have, instead of creating a gas plant, they use a solar farm. They'll be able to generate electricity, but not just sell electricity, but also be able to sell REC. So that's a fundamental principle behind RECs. Of course, the flip side of it then, for those people who want to contribute to the green movement, right? They want to be sustainable, but they don't have direct access to solar panels, right? You live in an HDB flat, for example, where you cannot access a solar panel, right? Unless HDB builds solar panels. Right? So even then, today, solar panels are built, but actually not powering your home, they're powering the common areas. So if you want to contribute, that's the way of doing it. You buy RECs and you're able to contribute to the movement. So in short, very quickly, we built a blockchain-based REC platform. I won't talk too much about the technicalities because I'm running out of time. Screenshots, we do this to enable originators to sell, issue and sell RECs. Businesses to go green by buying RECs. And here, we also enable owners and EV drivers to go green using RECs as well. Right? Very quickly, we did this with the world's first global energy blockchain consortium called EWF, Energy Web Foundation. We did a global launch last year on this, in a sense that we did the technical demo last year, was pretty successful. This year, we did subsequently last year, we did an actual production launch during the Singapore International Energy Week. We got some buyers like from DBS and CDL, and they're coming back again, right? Over and over again. This year, we also collaborate with IREC to provide an end-to-end, like one-stop shop kind of thing. Using our Spark platform, the IoT platform, we place into our customers, directly extract the information and use that information to generate RECs, put them on the marketplace, and enable you to sell through our SP Utilities app, where you can buy for your EV charging. Right? So finally, I just want to leave everyone with this slide on the purpose why we do this. We want to inform, we want to enable, and we want to help reduce consumption and cost. Thank you.